usually when I come and talk, and believe me, I could talk for hours. He told me I got a little window, so I'm going to go through this pretty quick, and I'll try and answer any questions at the other end. I like to try and talk about what the workforce is facing in the future. What's happening right now to our workforce coming up in the 21st century across the board. So one of the things is, I can tell you this, basically 80 to 90% of all the jobs in the future are going to require education beyond high school. But I can also tell you that traditionally, for the last 5 decades, 4-year degrees have been steady at about 25% of the population. So if you kind of go in between those two statistics, what it tells you is your kids have got to go to college, but it doesn't necessarily mean they got to go to a 4-year program across the board. And there's a lot of other facts that we could talk about. The top 10 jobs in demand weren't here 10 years ago, and the things that we're studying right now are going to be obsolete in 2 years. So there is a never-ending requirement for education across the board. One of the things I like about this slide is, and it's kind of hard to see at this particular group, but the bottom line is things are getting more complicated in technology, but yet we're putting out less technical people from school. And that's kind of, you get an oxymoron. Things are getting more complicated, but yet we're actually educating less technical across the board. Labor force, I can tell you this, when the baby boomers leave, and I'm a baby boomer and most of you are baby boomers, when we leave, we represent 40% of the workforce. And I can tell you there's nothing behind us. I don't know what that means. I don't know how to justify it, explain it, or if I was a company, I would be afraid because there is nothing back behind us. At some point, and believe me, if the recession had hit, it would have already been here. There would be a higher demand on jobs demand than we have skilled technicians for. Everybody believes there's a unemployment problem, right? You guys believe that? 14 million people out of work. You know what the sad statistic is? There's 4 million unfilled technical jobs. There's not an unemployment problem, there's a skills problem. And what we have is a group of individuals that have worked into low to no skilled jobs, and those have all gone away, and they ain't coming back, guys. You can wish it all you want to. They're not coming back. So the bottom line is you have to upgrade your skills to meet what is needed in technology and industry today. Believe it or not, we're in a global workforce, in a global competition. Everything that's happening around us right now, in some way, shape, or form, is being influenced by other countries. I will tell you this, other countries are starting to feel what we are going to feel in a worse way. We're still educating and trying to build a technical workforce. Most of the other groups aren't. And again, what's happening is China, India, and some of the places where we've offshored a lot of our low-skilled jobs are now needing higher skills and they don't have it. I was fortunate enough in the 90s to work in Europe, and Europe's plan for their workforce development is still American workers. That is the official line that they use. So if you don't believe that it's a competitive world, it is, and what makes it worse is where we're at in that competition across the board. I got to tell you, education is kind of in a bad way in a sense across the board. And typically, and again, I come from the St. Louis City school districts, and you guys know where the school district's at. I mean, it's in the dumps. It's an uncertified school district. There's 512 school districts in the state of Missouri, and they're at the very bottom. And what I get aggravated about is that we celebrate excellence there. How do you celebrate excellence when you're on the bottom of 512 in a state that is 33rd and a nation that is 25th? It doesn't make any sense, folks. So we've got to do a better job at education across the board. I can tell you it's never going to go away. As I've already pointed out, everybody's going to need education. And just as importantly, because of changing technologies, everybody's going to need retraining. Again, with technology doubling, and what that means is obsoletes itself every 2 to 3 years, especially in the IT area. If you guys are in the IT, every 2 years I go buy brand new equipment, brand new technology, and you can never keep up with it across the board. That's not going to go away. So what we need to be doing, instead of focusing and teaching on silos and very specific ideas and things. What we need to be teaching is teaching our kids how to learn, because they're going to be traditional learners for the rest of their lives, even into their adulthood. Power of education. As I said, if you believe into the whole idea of the Trinity thing, which is that workforce and education and economic development, all three go together, you got to understand that education has got to be a part of everybody's strategic plan. I'll show you, this is some statistics, and this is from basically United Way, and this is St. Louis, Missouri. Life expectancy, murder rate, median income, unemployment, all the things that seem to plague us. If you were to take and raise the education grade level, just one grade, and that doesn't mean, you know, PhD or master's degree or anything, just take the one grade level and raise it. Your life expectancy, murder rate, income, unemployment, tax base, industry, economic development, everything improves. Education has got to be the focus across the board of what ails us. I'll tell you a little bit about Rankin Technical College. Normally I show a little film here, but for brevity of time we won't do it. For those who don't know Rankin Technical College, it was established in 1908, so we've been around for over 100 years, which is a good thing. We are a fully accredited college by the North Central Association of Colleges and Schools, and that's the same accreditation that SLU, WashU, Notre Dame, all of them have, so we're a fully accredited school. We are a not-for-profit, which is one of the things that a lot of people mistake us for, and we are private, which gives us a lot of leeway to do the things that we do. We do 2- and 4-year degrees, plus certificates in custom training for industry. Our claim to fame is, over the decades, we have an excellent placement rate for our students. 96% of our students are placed within 6 months in their fields of choice. And believe it or not, that's a great return on investment, guys. A lot of our kids, the vast majority of my kids, 80% of my kids are there basically for 2-year degrees, and they go out and work. Starting average salary this year was about $33,000. So it's a great return on investment. 97% of my students receive some type of financial aid, and about 60% of them are on Pell Grants, which means they're low income disadvantaged across the board. What really kind of makes us different, we have 3 educational philosophies. One is our technical education, which is what we've done for the last 100 years because of our founder. We specialize in technical education and career fields only. We also have general education because we are an accredited school. So if you come to my campus, yeah, I have a psychology class and a sociology class and things like that. But that's because we do give our diplomas, just like real schools do. But really the interesting one is the work ethic piece. The work ethic piece is our third piece. If you come and visit my school, you will see that every one of my students are in uniform. They all have haircuts. They can't wear jewelry. They get graded on professionalism. They get graded on teamwork. They get graded on tardiness and things of that nature. And if they don't pass their work ethic grade, they don't graduate. It's that simple. We don't make any bones about it. We don't make a big deal out of it. You don't want to cut your hair, don't come to my school. It's that simple. But if you do come and do the things that we ask you to do, we'll make you successful in the technical world. The other thing is we do a lot of things with industries and partnerships, and we'll show you a few of those in just a second, micro enterprises, internships, co-ops, and that type of stuff. The key to this is application and work-based learning is very, very dear to us. One of the things, if you come and visit my school, you won't hear us talk a whole lot about graduation rates. We'd rather talk about placement rates, because I can give all the degrees in the world, but if I can't get that person hired, what have I done for them besides put them in debt? So we like talking about how many kids we get jobs for, and that's really our metric that we go by. Some things that we do a little bit different. One of the things that we've done strategically is we quit just worrying about our own little world, so to speak. Typically most colleges go out to high schools and start recruiting their seniors. And I got to tell you, if I'm waiting to a senior to make a decision, it's too late, because they've already made life decisions, curriculum decisions, all kinds of things that affects who they are and what they're going to be early on. So we've put a great deal of infrastructure and resources into expanding out and partnering with middle schools, high schools, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. For instance, and I'll show you in just a second, Lego Robotics. I'm sure y'all are very familiar with that across the board. It's It's a nationwide phenomenon. I have 17 teams that I sponsor. My students are their mentors, and we make sure that they have the finances, the resources, the equipment, and we have 17 city teams. Summer academies, each year I bring 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th graders to my campus and for camps for the week, and we give them hands-on projects and career fields and technologies that they probably have never seen before. We bring teachers from all over the region because we feel like they're one of the greatest influencers for young people making career decisions. We got to bring teachers and counselors to our school because most of them haven't got a clue what a welder does or what a machinist does or what any of these other people do. So we're very big on trying to get the word out. We work with high schools and dual enrollment. I run a program where we bring the city school kids to my campus in the afternoons of their senior year instead of going to their high school. And does it make a difference? I'll give you a good example. Had a young African-American girl that was going to high school. She wasn't a great student, but she wasn't a bad student. She came to my dual enrollment program, which meant that she was going to high school in the mornings and coming to me in the afternoons. And she was in a group called ESDT, which is electrical design. They actually design the layouts of buildings and where all the lights go and where all the receptacle goes and things like that. So she spent and got her first year of college basically behind her while she was in high school. And then she was going to graduate from high school in June, and her mom didn't want her to stay with us. Her mom just didn't see how she had a career in such a traditional man world, so to speak. We finally convinced her mom to let her stay. So she graduated with high school. She spent that summer with us and the fall semester with us. So she's been out of high school 7, 8 months, and Sergeant in Lundy out of Chicago offered her the job for $48,000. That's the greatest return on investment that I could offer to any kid across the board. You have to have a skill. If you're willing to invest the time and energy and effort into it, there are plenty of good jobs out there. So dual enrollment does work. Skills USA is a national, international competition of technical groups. We traditionally put people in the national finals every year, and I've had many, many gold winners through the national finals that come from our school. I actually had a charter school on my campus, charter high school. Moving over into the college side of the house, one of the things that we do is micro enterprises, and I'll talk about that in just a second because I'm always looking for partners with companies. And this is how we actively engage our students into company work. And we're not talking about the internship where the company goes and babysits type of thing. This is where they actually get good return on their investment also. On the bachelor's degree, the one thing I do want to point out to you is that we do a 4-year degree, but again, even it's a little bit different. For instance, if you come into our 4-year degree program, especially our Bachelor of Science in Applied Management, I will give you college credit for a lot of things that most colleges would turn their nose at. For instance, I'll give you college credit for your experience at your job, especially if it's a technical job. I'll give you college credit for an apprenticeship. I'll give you college credit for being in the military. I'll give you college credit for technical training that your industry runs, as long as I can verify what it is. We think that your life experiences is a very valuable piece of your overall education. Not just reading a book and sitting in a class and seeing if you can regurgitate it. What you've learned, what you bring to the table is very important to us across the board. I run a group called Rankin Development Corporation. It's a nonprofit within my nonprofit. And literally, again, this goes back to my kids do real work. My second-year carpentry students, my architecture students design houses, my second-year carpentry students build them, my electricians do the electrical work, my plumbers do the plumbing, my HVAC people put the HVAC in, we turn those houses and sell them. I've built over 54 houses within the community around my school. We think that that's not only great for the community, but the best way to train for work is work. Summer academies, told you a little bit about that, 6th, 7th, 8th graders, that type of thing, bringing kids to the camp, letting them see technologies, letting them see what the world looks like. We have a racer camp for the automotive group. The kids actually build their cars. We give them to them in a box. They have to build their cars, they paint them, then they get to race them. And so they get the chance to work with tools and see and understand the future, so to speak. Some other ones, Construction Zone, Summer Academy for, we call it What Makes You Tick. It's actually a metal fabrication. Robots, obviously we're big into robotics. Micro Enterprises, which is just another one of those little spin-offs and things we do different. And again, we're different, but we like being different. I have basically 8 companies that I have active partnerships with on my campus. And for those 8 companies, we integrate their workload into my students' curriculum. My students get a part-time salary, they get college credit for every minute they spend in a work cell, but they produce product for that company, real life product, which that company turns and makes a profit on. We have no problem with that. For instance, JM&A is a Chesterfield group. They're actually the car warranty group for Toyota. I actually run a call center 24/7, 365 days a year, manned by my automotive students to answer automotive questions for Toyota. BioMary View is a medical test equipment group that's a Boeing spinoff. It's out at the Boeing campus. Their founder is Louis Pasteur. They make high-end medical test equipment. I make 7 of their product lines on my campus with my students across the board. McCarthy Construction, I'm sure you've heard of them. They're a national, international construction group. We build and prefab bathrooms for them for their what we call stack buildings. A stack building is a hospital or a hotel which has very repetitive layouts. We prefab rooms for them and send them out. Hunter Engineering, which is over by the airport. They make all kinds of national, international car support equipment. I machine literally thousands, tens of thousands of parts for them in their production. The bottom line is, I'll tell you, we're different. We like being different. We like to have people come and see us. We hate being the best kept secret in St. Louis. I can tell you we're the future. I say this all the time, and I mean this sincerely. If the United States is ever going to get back to the prominence it once held worldwide, we got to start building again. And in order to build, you got to have a workforce, guys. And that workforce is diverse. It's not just a 4-year education thing. We're really in a kind of rut. We think that no child left behind means everybody's got to go to a 4-year college, and there's nothing further than the truth of that. But yet we're kind of stuck on that right now. So we have to, fight, scrap, and do our very best to go out and recruit the next set of workforce. And we'd love for you to help us. Send us your sons, grandsons, daughters, especially daughters. Love to have women. Love to have them come to campus and see us. And I think if you did, they'd walk away with a different opinion about technical education in general.